Thank you, Director Shanahan. Okay, number 5, under new business, Petrie and Regina Street. Is that yours, Jay, or somebody bring that up? Oh, I'm sorry. Chief.
Yep. Through the chair to everybody, I guess. Get some feedback from this mic. So I received an email from MLA Johnston in regards to some complaints that he has received from some local citizens in regards to a residence on Petrie Street that we're all aware of. We are aware of the situation. It's certainly in our radar for my patrol section every single day. They've been advised to keep a close eye on the area. Been in contact with the bylaw officer. They have completed the unsightly premises process and have advised me that they're ready to go on that, and the property is to be cleaned up in the second week of May. We also have a couple of other things in the works that I won't reveal, but it'll involve the city engineer being involved as well. So that location is certainly first and foremost in our minds, and I'm sympathetic and very empathetic to the citizens that live in that area and to the situation that's going on there. You know, you have I guess for lack of a better term, less fortunate people who are in and around that area and congregating, and they see them every day, and it certainly would get, for lack of a better term, it would get old. So anything that goes on in that area, I would urge them to, if they see something or know that something is going on, to call us. Many times we hear about these things 2-3 days later. It's very difficult to go back and do something about it at the time. We do have a couple of individuals who are calling us on a daily basis. We always tell them they are never bothering us. That is our job, and that's what we're there to do. So they're certainly in our minds. We do have some things in the hopper to try and get this cleaned up and hopefully come to a resolve for everybody. That includes the Regina Street area too, because it borders on it. You're dealing with the same clientele that are going back and forth between those properties. It's a very slippery slope that we have to deal with as police officers sometimes, because just because you look a certain way and you may portray something visually doesn't necessarily give us the grounds to go and persecute somebody just because of that. And other people have a different perception on that. So it's a very fine line we walk sometimes, but they're certainly first and foremost in our minds, and hopefully we'll have some resolve here for them soon.
Thank you, Chief. Myself, I know I gave quite a few complaints to the police department too, and but the thing I can't understand for the life of me is why I know there was an outfit there that got them over there for a couple of months, but even if we could have, I don't know if that's liable or not, if we could get even the Department of Health to go in there and have a look at that place. I snuck in there one day. My God almighty, I don't know how anybody lives there. It's beyond me. But anyway, I don't know. But anyway, whatever happened.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Just on that, Councillor King, just to the chief, 75 Petrie is coming up here quite a bit. When the previous chief was here and it was shut down, and you guys have worked hard on that file, I know, and I know the province has too when they shut it down, and then some of their members were kind of disheartened when the power was hooked back up again, unfortunately. And I do feel for the neighbours and putting on for our whole term. Really, we've heard tell 75 Petrie Street. So, if there's anything I guess that this council can do to move this forward, I don't know how we shut down 75 Petrie Street. I don't know how we tear it down. For the neighbours there, that they deserve to go to bed at night with both eyes closed, not one eye open, and I think that's where we're at on 75 Petrie Street right now. And I know it's alluded to in the letter for the housing solutions on Regina Street. Well, that's something that serves a purpose, and that's where they've moved up the road obviously to Housing Solutions, so they're new. So eventually we heard that that will be closed, I think, and everything will be moved up there is kind of what the, what their plan is, as long as everything goes in place. So that will serve one purpose for this letter from our MLA. But 75 Petrie, I think all of us would like to come to a conclusion before our term's up in 12 months' time that the next council don't have to put up the same letters and people worried about it. So, Chief, I don't know if there's anything that we can do. I know our bylaw officers are here today too. But, the more pressure we put on that area, I think, to disperse the crowd that's there, it might be something for us. But that's your job. I'll leave that with you, but I understand for the citizens.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Harris, I hear you loud and clear, and it was certainly, that location was certainly something that was front and foremost when I was deputy chief, and I've, to Councillor King's comment, I've been in the residence and I'm aware of the circumstances, and I certainly feel for the people in the neighborhood as well. So I'll give you my word, it's in our radar. We will be focusing on it hard.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Jason, for that. Anyone else on the question? Oh, Councillor Summers.
From your comments there a moment ago, Chief, when we say that the unsightly process has sort of started and that we're ready to go, like in the short term, I guess what we're saying, without putting words in your mouth, is that we're going to hopefully clean up the property. But sort of to follow up on Councillor Harris, like, how do we technically ever get to a point where legally the structure can be torn down? Because the pattern seemingly has been, it does get cleaned up, and then to your point, within a few months we're back at status quo. So I'm just wondering if you can fill me in on that, I guess.
Through the chair to Councillor Summers, I wish I had an answer to your comment. Certainly in my years of being on this job, and it's approaching closer to 40 than it is 30. I could probably count on one finger the amount of times I've seen a residence torn down in certain types of situations. So to answer your question, I don't know at what point it would, or what it would take to get a residence like that torn down. But I guess I temper it with going around to other cities, and this is not to make light of the fact many cities have 75 Petrie Streets times 10 or 20 or 30. And we're lucky that we don't have those types of problems, but that's not to make light of the fact that 75 Petrie Street exists and the people in the area have legitimate concerns. So we're certainly going to focus on it, and if it gets to a point where the city engineer becomes involved and we have the grounds and the laws on our side, that's something that we certainly look at.
Chief, I want to thank you for that, but if we can get our engineer in there, get him to even have a look at the roof, because the roof is caving in on it now. But anyway, thank you very much for that.